It's been 45 minutes, so maybe I should warm you up. Let me see how many people are paying attention. A show of hands who actually enjoyed all of today's talks. Personally, I thought they were excellent. So hands up, everybody. All right. I'm going to tell you a story about how my company turned from waterfall to Agile. And we did this in a sort of a non-standard way because we had a lot of problems doing that. And we were changing one person at a time. That's the title of my talk. Let me tell you a bit about myself. Oh, the clicker doesn't work. Okay. My name is Michał Ślizak. I work for a company called 9 Lives Data. We're located in Warsaw. And for a very long time, we were developing only one product. It was called Hydra Store. It's a backup appliance. My role and the role of the team that I was in was being the handyman in the company. So whenever anything went wrong, we were there to fix it. And we also prepared different tools to make other developers more productive. Regarding the project, it was quite big, so let me tell you a bit about the context. It was developed in 4 countries. The main part was developed in Poland, but there were also teams working in the USA, India, and Japan. This led to a couple of problems because we were in different time zones. And we were working with companies that already had an established structure. There were over 150 people working on the project, with about 50 people working in Warsaw. And the people in Warsaw were mainly people straight out of university. So we considered ourselves equal, and there was no structure, no hierarchy. But we had to work with teams where everybody was a manager, and sometimes it felt like there were more managers than bottom line people. We also had a bit of a communication problem, because when we were speaking English, they were speaking Excel. And they demanded a lot of documents from us, which we didn't really see the point of. So raise your hand if you've never had any of these problems in your company. Anybody? I can see that this is a very common thing. So what we did, we decided to hire a manager, but it wasn't just an ordinary manager. We were looking for somebody who could improve our process and our cooperation with other teams, so that we would become more efficient. And we found somebody who was actually an agile coach. And the first thing he did, was to do a series of workshops on Scrum and lead all the teams one after another through several Scrum iterations, so that the people would get the feel of what Agile is all about and how to work with it. He also started recommending Skype and wikis as alternative means of communication, but that didn't really catch on, especially with the external teams. So there were a lot of people who were skeptical and didn't really see the value in it, or sometimes they doubted that this could be maintained over a long time. but the early results were that we could see the progress we were making. And once we started making graphs and building metrics, we could actually see them improve. And for those brave enough to do retrospectives, they were even able to improve their own processes. But the problem was that this manager had to be present because he was basically the scrum mom in our organization. So after a while, he was very tired. And I'm sure many of you experienced the same thing. So when we found out about this problem, we decided that, well, maybe we could buy our Scrum Mom a friend. And we did. We employed an Agile coach. This time, really, the job description was really Agile coach, not just manager. And a couple of amazing things happened. First of all, they started pairing up and doing pair coaching. And it came to the point that they were even reviewing each other's emails before sending them, so that they were certain the message was correct. Another thing, because they were working in pairs, they had much more time to look for Agile-minded people within our company. And they managed to find quite a few in different teams. Also, the third thing I noticed, the Agile coach was much more empathetic than the manager, because when the manager got used to his role, he became much more goal-oriented than he was at the start. So the coach could easily spot many problems between people in communication and cooperation that we didn't see before. And all of that started making a change in the company, because suddenly we started doing many more experiments, and we stopped being afraid of failure. We knew that if we try long enough, we'll finally find something that works. An example of this is a system similar to Krufki that was described yesterday, or a kudos system where you can just high-five somebody online. And for the first time in a very long time, we actually felt like we were cooperating instead of just throwing requirements at each other. So it was a good thing. And after a while, it grew so that we started changing our processes on our own. Some teams, for example mine, turned to Kanban because we felt that Scrum doesn't really work for us. We have many more surprises along the way, and we were better handling them with Kanban. Also, we started doing continuous integration and continuous testing. So trying to shorten the feedback loop from those systems was also one of the experiments we did. And one of the latest developments was impact mapping our organization and our problems. So when we got some guests coming from external teams, for example from Japan, we managed to talk them into explaining what problems our customers are currently seeing and what's best to be done about them. So in retrospect, there are a couple of key points that I would like to share with you. First is that culture always trumps process, and if you have a culture that's anti-agile, it's very easy to start thinking about it as a sort of monolithic castle, and you start thinking that they are the problem. That's not true. in every team, you will find at least one or two people who are like-minded, and they can act as a sort of radio tower for your ideas. And once you get those people, it's much easier to change the whole organization, the whole structure from inside. Whoops, sorry, too fast. The second thing was to put people first, and after you find those people, they're quite easy to spot because they're usually very energetic and they're welcoming your ideas. So once you find them, you need to make sure that they stay motivated. And there are a couple of systems that you can use to make sure that happens. One of them is Champfrogs from Jürgen Appello's Management 3.0. Once you find these people, you need to make sure that the changes they introduce or propose are actually implemented. So you show them the trust that you put in them. And you need to also delegate some authority because it's really an energy drain when you have a good idea and you're not allowed to implement it. Also remember that coaching is a tough sport, and sometimes you need somebody to let you improve, and you need somebody for support, even if that support comes behaves like a rubber duck that you simply explain all your ideas to. Last but not least, whenever changing an organization, evolution is much better than revolution. So make sure to measure your metrics of success and take baby steps towards achieving perfect. Once you do that, you will find yourself on a path to endless improvement. And I think that's a very good journey to take. Thank you very much.